Hey everybody, it's Joe Lawyer from my Log Man Cave. And today's topic du jour, maps. I think, as my take, is how I'm doing it at least. I think that world building starts with maps. And from there, you develop out everything that happened, the history of your world and everything else about it. I hadn't really realized this until I found myself doing it. Um, Before I started my new campaign, I kind of had a rough structure. I wanted to have a post catastrophic world, not apocalyptic, but some natural catastrophes happen, maybe split the land, right? The old Pangea got broken up somehow, some way. And I kind of had an idea how that would happen, and it didn't really matter. And it was 1,000 years ago. And post that, here is the world. I wanted like 4 or 5 different continents, each one with a certain flavor of dominant culture and maybe campaign style, for each different continent, right? So I had that rough idea, and so with that, I was able to start writing some of the rules. I knew based on that, I need some barbarians, I need some different human cultures, I need different gods, whatever the case it was. I was able to start with that foundation in my head. And then once I started getting into prepping for the first actual campaign, once the rules were kind of done, I realized I needed to get a map of the world. I needed to have an idea what this place looked like. I'm a visual person. I need to visualize something. What does this world look like, at least, right? So I sat down one afternoon, spent a couple hours, and I needed a rough draft piece of shit map. And that's what I did. I drew this rough draft piece of shit map. It had 5 continents, a bunch of islands, the North, South Pole, blah, 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 and I was able to at least name the continents. And I drew in, there's a lake here, a forest here, a mountain range there. I drew the major geographic landforms that dominate each continent. And that was it. And I named each continent. All right, that's perfect. Now, this continent's going to be about this, and that continent's going to be about that. And I picked the one I was going to start campaign one in, named it, and like I said, I just had the name of the the name of the continent, and the only other thing I named on there was the starting city because it's going to be a city-based campaign. So good, perfect. All right, got the starting city, got the name of the continent, major geographic landforms, but I knew it was going to be predominantly city-based, so I wouldn't need too much else going forward for multiple levels, right? But now, as I'm sort of fleshing out the city, I realized, what I need to have here is like a bit of history of the land because the city interacts with other cities, towns, and villages around it. The city has a past with other civilizations, past, present, all right, civilizations, maybe some demi-human current civilizations. And so where are they? What's the trade route like? Because it's one thing to start in first level, first adventure in the city. You do the most basic bitch thing, right? Rats in the cellar, whatever the hell it might be, and you just get through it. But you need more, right? Because you just can't run basic city adventures not connected to the rest of the world because the city is connected to the rest of the world. So basically, I needed to create at least this continent. And so I hopped onto Incarnate. I learned something. It was kind of cool. Basically, I'd scanned this map in. I took a picture of my fucking phone. I emailed it to myself and I put it on the computer. And I just cropped out the piece of the continent that I wanted to do. And I realized that I could just drop that into Incarnate, put it on like a one layer, very opaque, very dim, and I could just trace the outlines of everything, the continent. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I spent the other day, I spent some time just doing that to the entire world. I traced it all out. And then I spent some time, right? I have the mountain ranges and I have the where the forest is and the lake and the swamp and blah, blah, blah. So I used Incarnate to just create it. And it's freaking beautiful. I love Incarnate. I love Incarnate. It's amazing, this program. $20 a year, $25 a year, guys. INKARNATE. I'm not getting paid for that promotion or anything like that. It's just the greatest world building program out there for my money. I have them all. From hexographer, the worldographer, the campaign cartographer. I have everyone under the sun. I had, big and small. And I got to say, Incarnate for me, I'm not a techno geek, right? I'm not proficient in computer aided drafting and design or anything like that. Like you kind of need to be for campaign cartographer, but this is the sweet spot for me. It has just enough complexity that I could like challenge my brain and learn it, but it's not going to overwhelm me, and I could do a lot with it. And so I did all that, and then I named the areas. And now that I have this map of this continent, I'm looking at it and I'm just staring at it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so we're based on the mountains, there's rivers over here, and usually at the end of a river, there's going to be a city there, okay? And so the mountains and the cities and the rivers. So who would be allies? Who would be maybe historically allied or historical enemies? Who might have a past? Where might the division be between these various factions of the world? And now I'm thinking to myself, this is awesome. I'm just staring at the map and I'm getting a million ideas, just a million ideas. It's fantastic. I remember reading a book about Cornelius Vanderbilt. He did this where, he was a robber baron back in the 1800s. He was the first, the biggest, before Rockefeller and all that. He was the OG robber baron, right? And he started with shipping and steamships and moved up to the railroads and all that. And he's really an interesting freaking guy. He was not that literate, but he was fucking smart. And his approach, he would just look at maps of the country and visualize his future empire that he wanted. He would just mentally draw the railroads and the shipping lanes and all this kind of shit, and he just make it happen. And I see myself doing the same thing with this. I see myself looking at this map and not picturing my future empire, obviously, but picturing all the past empires and the current empires and the cities and how they interact and everything. I'm imagining it all, and it all starts with the damn map for me, right? I have the names of the, the Bloodleaf Jungle, the Brimfrost Spine, the Greenwood, the Dawnfell Mountains, all these cool names. I got to say one thing. I don't do AI for much anything, but I tell you what, it is a very useful tool for names of things. Give me 10 Norse names or give me an Anglo-Saxon / Norse mixture of names for mountain ranges or something like that. You got some good names out there, right? Because I'm not going to sit there. I can't think of everything. You need a million names for things. And so it's great for naming things. I don't use it for art or anything like that, except thumbnails. Some guys busted my balls in the comments. Oh, you shouldn't use AI for your thumbnails. I'm like, that's my one exception, man. Give me a break. Because every YouTuber on the face of the earth creates a thumbnail by going to Google Images, Google something that relates somewhat to the thing, and they drop the image into the thumbnail, and they maybe mess with the image, add a couple more images, and write a little description, how to make maps, whatever the fuck. Everybody does that stuff. Figure no big deal with AI. That's my one exception for AI art and whatnot. But what I'll do though is I like it for names. I like it for research. I'll look it up. So that's what I spent some time using, the Chat GPT for cool names, cool sounding names. And it's just fun, man. It's just fun. And so now, like I said, I'm sitting here looking at this map and I'm visualizing so many things. And now I'm going to print it out. I'm going to bring it to work on my lulls or something like that in a little notebook. I'm just going to look at the map and take notes, I get a break or lunch or something, and just write stuff down and get ideas about what I could do with this. And, what's the history of these two cities that are across from each other? And what about these hills? Maybe gnomes live there. So if the gnomes live there, how does that work with their traveling goods to markets? Do they hate the gnomes? Do they have to pay a fee to the gnomes? Do they, have to go to war sometimes? Are the gnomes allied with one and then the other? I don't know. I just love the infinite possibilities of looking at the power dynamics of a map and what might have been and what is now. Because whatever is now came from another thing. So if you determine what is it now, then how did it get there, right? In the past, what happened? That's just fun. That's just fucking fun. So anyway, like I said, for me, world building first and foremost starts with maps on every level. A broad stroke map for just getting started. And then as you get further and further along, you need to have the history of the world and history of your continent, history of your region at the very least. So you're going to need a map for that. You can't create in a vacuum. At least I can't. I can't create things in a vacuum. I can't create 5 towns and let you know the history and dynamics of them without looking at a map. Because what if there's a forest, a mountain range, rivers, streams, whatever, hot springs, that would affect the history of it. You need to have it. And just like in history, right? I mean, geography is everything. All right. The invasion of Russia. Don't do it in the fucking winter. Right. Don't cross the English Channel with a lot of ships in a big storm. Things like that. The Mongols going into Japan. Right. Lost all their ships, I think it was. So, yeah, you need all that. The geography means everything. Geography first. Maps first. Everything flows from there. It's going to make your life a lot easier. So, anyway, thanks for watching this long, guys. Please do like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Leave a comment, even if it's you suck. And why does that fucking piece of hair keep jumping in front of your face? I don't know. Anything. Just it does help, and spread it around. Share the link out to your friends. Post it in your favorite Facebook group or something like that, and maybe get more people to watch. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.